So this week, when reviewing the CDC's children's mental health page, I learned a lot of interesting things. One thing that they stressed that I saw when reading through the pages was that mental health is not simply the absence of a mental disorder, and that in children, all children have different strengths and weaknesses, and they all grow differently. So just because one kid, has a certain disorder at 2, doesn't mean all kids will get it then. They may develop it later, or they may grow out of it, is what it said, which I thought was interesting. Or they may display signs of something, but then grow out of it. So yeah, they stress that point a lot, that the mental health is not just simply an absence of a disorder. Like, if you don't have a disorder, oh, you're good. Some of the numbers I kind of find were a lot higher than I thought they would be. I'll run through them. So, and these are all ages from 2 to 17. Is what it said. And so it said about 9.4%, or about 6.1 million people between 2 and 17 have been diagnosed with ADHD. And then right under that, it was 7.4 with behavioral problems. And then a little less at 7.1 with anxiety. And then the lowest, but still high, I think, is 3.2 with depression. And so when I was looking at these numbers, you can kind of put them in age groups where it's like, okay, I could see toddlers and the 10, 11, 12, 13, having the behavioral problems and stuff like that. But when reading through it, it said it varies. It said there's no, it said you can kind of categorize which ones, but it said, through that, it's a spectrum, it varies. So I thought that was interesting to read. So going off of that, when I was doing my own research, I looked up autism spectrum disorder because I'm very interested in that one. And something new I learned was that specialists can detect it at 18 months. So when you're, I think, 1.5 years old, they can give you a soft diagnosis, or look out for these things because it's looking like he has autism spectrum disorder, ADS. I thought that was interesting because when you're a year and a half old, you're not really, as far as I know, my nieces, I have 7 of them, and they weren't really doing anything interesting at a year and a half old. So that's crazy that they can already tell you, hey, it's looking like they have this. And then they said by age 2, usually they can give you that firm diagnosis of, okay, your child is on the autistic spectrum, which is crazy that they can catch it that quick. And they gave you things to look out for. So a lot of them was your child's not interested in other kids, in the sense of they don't want to play with other kids. They're more than happy sitting there by themselves doing other things. When talking, they don't make eye contact. They look at the ground or at other things when they talk to you or when being talked to. They have trouble developing language problems. And then also they miss key milestones. So speaking is the biggest one. They don't speak at a certain age and things like that. For treatments, they did not say there was any treatments. So there's no treatments, but they use a lot of behavioral intervention strategies to focus on social skills and social cues and communication, so that they can grow up to have a semi-normal life, or as normal life as possible. And then moving on, when reading about juveniles and crimes and stuff like that on the last page, I feel like it was shocking, but not as shocking as I thought, when you find out that, a large percentage of people who are in jail are teens who are troubled youth or troubled juveniles or anything like this, have some sort of mental disorder. So like I said, it was one of those where it was shocking to me that so many had them, but at the same time, you can, once you read that, you realize, okay, well, it makes sense because this, and putting the things together. And so all in all, it was very interesting to read about that and see how different things connect when you have one of these disorders, and when it's not properly diagnosed, first of all, and then treated if treatable or helped. It can lead to bad things. So it was a very interesting read overall.